At one time, there was a golden age, the age of greatness. Then there were the forgotten times. But now, we're in an age of darkness.
You're all pink!
But then came a time of two heroes, bringing back the awesome to slay the silliness of our woke overlords. We can only pray they are not too late.
Hello, my green skins, and tonight we're talking about Bashki, Ralph Bashki, for Fantasy Month, or as we're calling it, we're going to get copyright claimed most likely month, and we're doing Fire and Ice. So, Erwin, get those censor bars ready.
They're ready.
Bigger. We need bigger. And biggest. Perfect.
Now it's YouTube safe.
Damn censor bars!
So we have a special guest today. We actually got Dark to watch this one, and he didn't get bored to death of it like Legend, according to him.
Today he's not busy doing Prince of Bobla stuff.
Today he decided to watch it because it is Ralph Bashki. Ralph Bashki. So we have him today, and there we got ourselves some good stuff. Fire and Ice. Now, what can we say about Fire and Ice? Well, I'll give a little bit of a background. This is a movie that's inspired by the art of Frank. What's his last name?
His name is Frank Frazetta.
And Frank is a badass motherfucker, and was making art. I don't know if he's still alive, actually. I can't, not 100% sure. So someone walked up to Bashki and basically said, hey, you want to make this movie? We're going to base off this guy's art. And he's like, oh, is the guy going to do the art with us? Okay, sold. And because Frank's a crazy son of a bitch. Again, if you've seen some of his other movies, holy shit.
You mean Bashki is a crazy son of a bitch?
Bashki is such a crazy son of a bitch that he stole the art from Canada and snuck it across the American border. That's how badass Bashki is. He's a fucking wild man.
Yeah, didn't he take the film reel and shove it up into his ass?
No.
And he kind of like waddled through customs?
No. We don't need
Like,
to...
someone's lying to me. It's either you or my sources are not liars.
Yeah, your sources... look, your sources, we all know... Look, we all know what you like to do with customs on a Sunday. We go over and say hi. Hi, customs. Guess what? I shoved up my ass this week.
Yeah, I act suspicious just specifically for the cavity search.
It's like a Barbie doll, 50 Monopoly money.
An orange VHS of a Good Burger.
Good Burger. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, so this is Ralph is a wild man, and it's about as wild as our 4chan over here.
So was Ralph a comic book artist, or was he only with animated films?
He did a little bit of everything.
Poster designer, wasn't he?
No.
He did posters?
No. Ralph, well, he did do poster for a couple of his art, but
Frank.
Frank was, yes. No, he was a creator, he was an author. He did art for Conan, the original Conan the Barbarian and other stuff. Like, he's been a posterist for a while, but Ralph's been doing animation for years.
Because before this, he did Lord of the Rings, the animated movie in 1978. So he's like well versed in like how things are meant to be done. Since that was like a big Lord of the Rings at that time was like the biggest acid trip for the hippies because they're like, whoa, this is crazy because it wasn't really seen before.
Yeah, and it wasn't seen before. Like, rotoscoping, I think he was one of the inspirations of that. Like, wasn't he one of the creators of that? I'm not 100% sure on that, but...
Not really a creator, because they were doing rotoscoping since 1930s.
The earliest year I found regarding the topic is 1906, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was when Edison was making some kind of animated film or something.
Yeah, but like, this guy, Ralph took it to a next level.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy, was this movie a bitch to make. Like... I know we're not talking about the actual movie yet. We're not breaking down the story, any of this shit, but this is literally, you can't talk about this movie and not talk about the insanity and the horror that came from this movie not making any fucking money.
The utter production hell of almost dying and not being able to get paid for it.
Holy shit! Hell.
Well, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like what 1983. It was made, and at the time, cartoons were just kids' entertainment.
Yeah, most of cartoons weren't. We didn't have He-Man yet. We didn't really have the whole what do you call that? The advertisement that was cartoons. That wasn't really a thing yet.
And I think this movie, if I remember correctly, was limited viewed. I think it was only. It wasn't like I don't think this ever. Like I think like this made its money. Let's be honest, it's a cult classic now, but this made its money in like rentals.
VHS.
I say it made its money from hippies and crackheads.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I would say this movie was made by. I think this was like
just picture yourself 2 a.m. in the 80s, high up on coke, and this movie comes on. Of course you're gonna watch it.
Oh well, this movie never came on. I never saw this on fucking cable TV. No. Here's what this was.
Not cable. Just like hey, you want to get high and watch this like sword and sorcery movie? Sure, why not?
No. Here's what happened. Kids were like looking around the theater, like they go to the local Blockbuster after playing like a video games, and like your friends would come over with some pizza, and you'd be like, "Wow, what's this? Fire and ice? Oh, there's titties on this. Let's see if we can sneak it past." And you because back in the day,
yeah, it's totally like a little Goonies thing to do.
Oh yeah, it is a Goonies thing to do, and your kids would do that. I think that's why this movie's popular, because there's no other fucking way this movie's popular.
I think that's why Frank's artwork is popular. Even his image I'm looking at right now of women space explorers in jumpsuits, somehow he accentuates the female body under those thick clothes.
Yeah, he's
those
a
thick
badass.
uniforms.
Like, I think one of my favorite arts, we can't show it because it'd be censored all the hell.
That's okay, I got the censor bar ready. Here, it's up on the screen right now.
Oh, thanks a lot. And so we would literally have to like fucking half his stuff would be put up to bear. But let's actually break this fucker down. Let's actually break this down.
Yeah, tell us a story, because none of us understand any of this goddamn nonsense.
Okay, apparently I'm the only one. 'Cause I'm the only one that watches these movies. You guys are too busy. You guys are too busy snorting your damn crack. Your damn crack cocaine, and I'm the one that has to watch all the movies.
I sadly was distracted by the beautiful women in the movie. I had no idea what the story was about, but I liked it either way.
So, this movie starts with a bunch of little matte paintings and like sketches of our evil overlord Necron, and his basically explaining that this asshole is like slowly growing an iceberg, trying to create the next ice age.
Yeah, that's a slang for when you have a turtle head poking out.
And doing so while having an orgasm.
Yeah, the faces he makes. It's like someone sucking him off under the table.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting that.
Now I'm gonna interject a little supernaturalness to this, and that is the fact that when he's doing this, the more he kills people, it's almost exciting. It gives him like joy, like the death, the screaming, the pain.
I can see that. Some kind of sadistic nonsense.
And it empowers his power. Like that's the only reason he has a giant fucking ice freezer where he throws all the bodies.
Yeah, all the ice, like the icicles, they're like going straight upwards as if it's like an erection. Like he is literally erecting things around him.
Yeah, it's almost like a lust and a sheer power.
And this is all foreshadowing because you're going to be erect watching this.
That's when we get to the main female lead. So
the main meat.
We meet our unfortunate hero. He's not really the true hero. Let's fucking be honest. That goes to fucking Judge
Gino.
That goes to ancient Judge Dredd.
I call him Cave Batman.
Bat Caveman.
Yeah, we've been calling him Cave Batman, but there actually is a Cave Batman now, unfortunately. Yeah, there actually is. So Batman.
But it makes sense to call him a Batman because he has the little ears. He has like the eyes are like glowing through like his little cowl, and then.
Well, no, he has the Panther. He has the Panther power. We could call him Savage Black Panther, but then that problem pops up. So I'm going to call him Ancient Judge Dredd because he is the law.
Savage Black Panther? You mean Black?
Ooh. It's nice knowing everyone on YouTube.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. I guess we're all gone now. Well, to our fans on Rumble, hi.
Hello, Rumble. Nice to see you.
The movie, after this point, you have your hero gets in a bunch of he gets his ass kicked by a bunch of tribals. And I think they were troglodytes.
Because his village gets like burned down to the ground, or not really burned down, but iced to the ground.
Everyone is dead, and these tribals are like ripping at
the subhumans. I think they were called.
They're like raping and ripping. Yeah, like these troglodytes. They're like they're basically just orcs.
Yeah, well,
remainders from Lord of the Rings.
So the entire tribe's dead. So they're just looting bodies, and they're like looking at the women. Ooh, look at the woman's corpse I just found.
Now here's a corpse I just found. And when I say go, get ready to. Oh go.
Grape. Say grape instead.
Grape. Yes.
Or drape. You're him, not me.
So anyway, he fights them off by falling to his doom, and then we cut to these evil guys going to the realm of fire. Or as I like to call it, the America fuck yeah of the area.
America, fuck yeah!
And so they go there and they're like, hey, we want
peace.
We want peace, but the peace is your ass is off your throne.
Piece of that ass.
Yeah, the piece of your ass is off your throne. Piece of you surrendering to us completely and becoming our little bitch. And so they're like, well, I'm not going to surrender to those. That's unacceptable terms. I'm not going to abdicate and let you just take over everything. And so they back off and they like, okay, we knew you were going to do that in the first place, but we've captured your princess and she's in another castle. And so the Fire Nation, Lord Ozai gets pissed off and strangles the fuck out of someone as Zuko stabs somebody. Well, that's another franchise. She gets captured, and then she uses her womanly wiles to kind of like, hey guys, look, boobies.
Yeah, she gets wet in a river, and she realizes, wait a minute, they're horny, and I'm a woman. And then so she activates her woman powers, like Wonder Woman, and she spins around in the water, and then she just runs away.
What I laugh about this whole shit is if you watch that scene, the barbarians walk up to the water, and they're like, where'd she go? And they're like reaching in the water, jumping in the exact same fucking area that she had just swum under to this magical portal. So it's like she warp zone, she activated a warp zone.
She found a Mario pipe.
That's why I say this movie, which we'll elaborate on later, feels a bit unfinished in some areas.
It does, really.
Well, I think it wasn't finished, if I remember correctly. Like, they had a lot of problems.
Oh, I bet.
And there was a lot of fighting. This movie had to have been a nightmare. And so they actually go on these, they chase after her. She escapes. They get attacked by a giant iguana.
It happens to be the same iguana that was in the movie Stone Cold.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it's kidding.
Maybe. Yeah, so we have ourselves a freed princess who's trying to escape from these evil bad guys. The lizard, she murders one of them, and then she runs into our hero. And meanwhile, our actual hero starts watching because he's secretly justice. And he is the law.
I don't even say he's the law.
The law!
And
he's like, I am the law.
I am the law!
I would say he is vengeance, and he is the law. And when he says it, he will put he'll ram his giant fucking barbarian boots right up your ass and ram an axe up across your face. He is a badass. And we get the first image of the coolest character in this movie, the true hero.
Well, because we don't really see him until after we see a statue of him.
No, you don't really see a statue of him because you don't see a statue of him. You see them in this ancient area. And I'm gonna get.
You do.
I'm gonna get to those.
Yeah, there's a statue of him right there.
Is there?
Yep, it's right there on the screen. I put it up there on screen, point with a big fucking arrow on it.
Okay, if I missed it, I missed it. But I didn't think there was a statue of him. But anyway. They go to his realm, and he's like, well, we have ourselves a hero that finally meets the good guy after he gets attacked by a giant squid, which, by the way, that looked pretty cool. They kill the giant squid.
Yeah, his eye's in the shape of a stop sign, and he stabs him with a giant piece of coral.
No, he stabs him with a bone.
And when he gets attacked by the giant squid, the girl, she bolts out of there like a bat out of hell. She's like, "Fuck you, I'm out of here."
Yeah, come to my people. Meet my people. You would love it there. Oh, see ya, bitch.
Yeah, he was being all charming and whimsical, like dancing like a monkey around her. She's like, haha, so funny. And then like the giant squid just comes in and does hentai rape on them and only grabs the guy, but misses the girl completely.
Yeah.
Almost turned into an anime.
He gets his ass kicked, and then he runs into the badass. And I mean, this guy oozes badass. So they go to free the princess for the second time, which involves a bunch of badassery. And the princess escapes again because, these guys are idiots.
We need more titty shaking scenes.
Hell yeah, we need more.
This movie needs to be retitled Tits and Ass.
Fire and asses.
So so basically they fight off they start fighting the horde. She escaped earlier, and then she gets caught by this giant like barbarian monster man. I guess is the son of an evil witch. And that was kind of cool with actually the way they treated the character. They get murdered, and then our badass, fights 50 freaking troglodytes or barbarians.
Yeah, he just pulls like this Arkham Asylum combo, and I'm just constantly spinning and slapping them with his battle axe.
Well, that wasn't until the later combat scene, but he's like kicking ass in this one scene. Yeah, and that scene he does that scream, and the whole screen turns red.
Oh, yeah, I fucking love that. I love how like the backgrounds are really engaged with the story, but also like drawn as like the kind of drawings where like the background's not going to move at all, and something does move, it's kind of like brighter than the rest of it.
Yeah, it has this surrealness to it, and then we get to her getting
about the background. There were some moments where, like you said, it all looked baked in together, but even some of the stuff that did look baked in was moving.
Yeah,
individually from the foreground to the background.
It could move. No. The background usually the sky was static unless it had an event. You watch the background very carefully. It would move and shift.
Yeah.
Then we get our badass. Then he has to free the girl. He runs into the evil witch, and after she's been murdered by the bad guys, and she gets captured again. And she finally ends up in the Necron's lair, and it's basically like, yeah, can we give peace a chance? And he's like, no, screw you. I'm in it for the money.
There wasn't any money. There was just power. It was in it for the power. Because once you get the power, then you get the money, then you get the women.
So he throws her into a pit of dead corpses. I guess that's their freezer. And then her brother shows up, and then he uses his psychic powers to murder them. Then the good guy our hero, he shows up. He gets his ass fucking handed to him. Then he escapes and runs into our badass.
Oh no, he escapes, like he tries to run across the entire like desert, or what do you call it, the frozen tundra, and then like once he's kind of dead or almost dead, then that's when the badass comes in and kills all the troglodytes, and that's when he does the Arkham Asylum combo.
No, he doesn't do the Arkham Asylum combo.
God damn it! Or it's coming soon, guys. Just keep your panties on. It's coming.
It's coming.
Right?
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. And so he does kill a couple, but he doesn't go like Arkham Asylum. And then
he does throw a spear, though.
Then we cut to him meeting the Fire Lord, and they're like, "Hey, do us a solid.
We need part of your army to kill this guy." And they're like, "All right, take my pterodactyl unit that's like made up of like 5 guys who don't know how to ride anything."
And they actually like legit do it. And so they fly in, which is actually a beautiful scene. And Fire Lord America here. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna unleash hell, literal hell, on this guy if he gets any closer.
Yeah, and this kind of moment's like a prehistoric version of like an Independence Day when like the fighter jets try to take on like the alien ships, but like minus alien ships, and instead you replace it with like fucking rocks and bow and arrows.
Oh yeah, and this is just badass moment. And like they fight their way through, and the one guy escapes up and actually slides down and
more like die their way through.
Yeah, they basically do.
They just die.
Yeah.
Like, everybody dies. All the birds die, or I keep calling them birds, but all the pterodactyls die. It's so sad.
Yeah, they call them pterodactyls, but they kept calling them dragons.
Yeah, firebirds.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're firebirds, and then the
firebirds who don't breathe fire.
Yeah, the firebirds get their asses handed to them. And our our hero bravely flees for his life, and just crash lands his poor bird into the ground, and it looks like the bird damn near is barely alive. then the real hero of the story is like, all right, this bird dies. And then what happens, Erwin?
No, he uses the bird's body as a shield so that he can fly into the throne room through like the closing doors, and he screams bloody murder as like the background's like kind of zooming by.
Yeah.
And then he just he just slams down with his battle axe.
And then what does he do? Does he do the Arkham Asylum combo flurry that you've been waiting for?
You stole my bit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did steal your bit. I stole your bit because you weren't using it properly. So, our hero saves the girl and bounces.
Yeah, she does.
Meanwhile, our badass is basically
who bounces?
They bounce.
Our hero.
No, she bounces.
Those sweater puppets bounce like mad.
They're not sweater puppets when she's wearing nothing but a bikini.
Okay, loincloth puppets, whatever you call them.
Yeah. So they epically bail. And meanwhile, Badass is fighting this psionic evil necromancer Ice King, and he starts kicking his ass. Like, he's like, why aren't you dead? He's like, and then he uses the power of the Force, or whatever power he had.
No, he goes Super Saiyan. There's like a blue light around him, and he screams bloody murder before he like slashes him with his axe.
Yeah, and then he finishes him off. Meanwhile, the good guys release this ultimate weapon of lava, which is a cool scene.
AKA the prehistoric nuke.
And it melts all the ice.
This is quite literally a nuclear weapon going off, because all the lava comes out of these gargoyles, and everything, including the jungle, the animals, all those wolves that ran away earlier, they're dead now. All the troglodytes get burned by the giant fantasy of orange Fanta.
No one was spared.
Yeah, no one was spared except for our main heroes, one tribal guy that's still kicking around, and our hero
and our princess,
who's on a fucking mountaintop, and our badass that's sitting on a mountain. Then all of a sudden the mountain disappears. They kiss. Cut to credits, and that is the story of this thing. This thing is a fascinating story. And what did you guys think of the story? What did you think of the story, boys?
Some people did some things.
Yeah, there was no real theme. It's just a damsel in distress adventure.
Yeah, I kind of disagree.
I think it's a theme.
I think it does have a theme. I think it's a primal theme.
I do think it's messy, though. It is a messy theme.
And that's where we were going to move to the animation and the production and these, like, the special effects.
Yeah,
because we can't really.
I think that's where the movie shines, and I think that's what it's supposed to highlight more than story.
Yeah, and we got ourselves, like, our cast. I didn't know this. There's actually imagery of them shooting this movie, and they actually had to wear their loincloths and all that shit just to get the artist that thing. Like we got images of this. We got images of these people wearing this that we could put on thing. And there's holy fuck.
Of the making of it.
There are. Yeah, there's making of it on YouTube, if I remember correctly. This was hard fought. Millions, like a couple millions, or was it $1 million? I can't remember how much it was exactly.
It was quite literally like $1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million went to the production of this video, which is, I think it's actually less. That's like, isn't that like 1/100th of how much one episode of the Rings of Power cost?
Oh God, no. Yeah, the Rings of Power cost way more because it was over $1 billion. So you got to figure.
Isn't it like 100 million per episode?
Yeah, pretty much.
Look, Amazon spent $1 billion on the entire like season of Rings of Power, and no one's gonna like this.
I've already said it, and I've said it once and said it before. There's only one explanation: is to stamp their name on the Lord of the Rings.
It quite literally is. I think this is like a cash grab. What do they call that? When like you make something just so you can keep the copyright?
Yeah, that's basically what this is.
Like how they made Son of the Mask.
And I think this is the plan. We need more, like 5 seasons, and it's $1 billion for season 1. That's absurd. That's unheard of.
If I had $1 billion, I would not make Rings of Power. That's all I got.
And that's the truth. Like, that's absurd. But this movie is beautifully, like, it looks cool. Like, it is one of those movies that looks cool. I hate to say it. It's a movie that if you watch it when you're older, it's better. because I find
Oh yes.
if you watch this when you were a kid, it's not.
Well, if you're watching this as like a horny teenager, you're like, all right, titties in animated form, wonderful. But then if you're older, you're like, all right, people like, getting burned by lava, that's wonderful. Like, there's a weird difference in like what you appreciate as you get older.
Oh yeah, and it's very visually beautiful, and it has some cool things. Like
Yeah.
I love the idea of the fog.
Like I said,
That's
I think the background was
Oh, yeah.
it's the best thing about the movie. It's
Yeah.
so nice
Totally.
to look at. But the characters themselves, it is for the most part good. But I think this movie would have benefited from a little bit of shading on the characters.
They do, but it's not perfect. I would say there was better movies that I think his other movies like Wizard and The Lord of the Rings looked a lot better. I'm not going to say anything about his other movies because there's no freaking way I could ever put those on YouTube because they're holy shit.
They're too spicy.
Yeah, this is goddamn fucking skirting the edge of Ralph Bakski's stuff.
Have you heard of Fritz the what's his name? Fritz the Clit?
Fritz-
Fritz the Clit? Fritz the I can't say it.
Fritz the Plot? Whoop, plot?
Fritz the cat, right?
Fritz the Clap. Fritz the Clap.
What is wrong with that word phrasing?
Fritz
Yeah, the clapping
cat.
clit. Okay, Fritz the cat, right?
Oh my god, yeah, if you can ever get it, Fritz the Cat and Coon, I think it was Coonskin, was it not?
Coonskin, and another movie called what was it? Heavy Traffic, that's it. And of course he did Wizards, which he's more known.
He's done a lot, but his early stuff is really aggressive.
Yeah, so you rap bastards out there who only know Cool World because of that one gif of that one girl she's dancing because, whatever, like, that's him, okay?
He does insane stuff, but he does beautiful work. Like, Ralph's always been kind of unique.
Yeah, there should be more dinosaurs, especially since the guy who did Dinotopia worked on this.
Yeah, well, there was dogs, lizards, squid, and poor pterodactyls. Well, you know what? The other idea I have.
It would have been nice to see a scene of what's the main character's name? Larn or something like that?
Blonde guy.
Oh.
Yeah, his name's Larn.
Or ancient Batman riding a
blonde
T-Rex.
guy.
Yeah, I thought that he would ride like a T-Rex or something.
No, you know what? I like that it had this actually a lot. Like you guys are grapping on that. I think this was perfect for what it was meant to be, and it just has a great look to it. I do admit the only time this doesn't look good on visual effects is that slow motion at the beginning where they're like, ah!
Yeah, the facial expressions are kind of weird.
And
Well, there were
like,
some slow motion scenes that didn't work, and there were some close-ups where there are too many what do you call them, sketch lines, which I don't know how they make it into the
like around the faces.
yeah.
But and then we get to the voice acting for this beast, and the voice acting was
Practically
pretty good.
non-existent.
No.
It's
The
a quiet
time it
movie.
was-
90%
There's a lot
of the time.
of dialogue.
No, there was dialogue. It's just that it's very few and far between, but it was well done. Like, it was well voiced.
I would say the dialogue was surreal because a lot of this felt like people talking how they talk in modern day, but they're trying to pretend they're like cavemen.
Yeah.
So it's like there should be something different in how they act and how their culture works in the caveman days, but it's like still applying to like how we speak now.
Yeah, we don't even know if this is caveman era for all we know. It's all over the place. And then you got
And for you people out there, that's called pastiche, okay?
yeah, and then we we got like other stuff that's kind of going up. So like some of the voice acting is good, some of the voice acting isn't. Like there's like that one scene with the witch. She voice acts really good. Like she has really good voice act moments.
Oh, she was amazing. I love the witch. It sucks that she died so early, but then she kind of comes back alive as like a zombie skeleton.
And that was fucking great. Was that not amazing watching her just kind of like playing with her hair?
I love that kind of idea. I love the idea of like people coming back alive, but only if they're magical, I guess.
Yeah, and wanting revenge because the guy murdered his wife. Murdered his wife.
So then, Bat Caveman, he must be similar to that woman, where he kind of comes back alive as like a beast of vengeance.
I have a theory about that, and we'll get to that. We'll get to theories later. What'd you boys think of the music now?
I don't even remember it.
It was very little. It had moments, but I can't remember any of it.
You don't remember it either, do you, Dark?
No, not really.
No, yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah, well, there's the music for you. 0 out of 10. All right, what's the next subject?
Okay, well,
It's
actually,
generic fantasy
I can't even remember it. That's
Some of the music did make me think of Aliens. I think that was like a 70s thing where they had like a synthesizer or something. It did feel that like the background ambience.
It wasn't like Hawk the Slayer.
Like, dude, here's the thing that makes me wonder why they decide this one. They should have had heavy metal music playing because all the art is based on heavy metal, like, album covers.
Well, some of it was, yeah.
Like, it should be like a really heavy hitting soundtrack, but it wasn't. And that's why heavy metal came out and everyone's like, this is what I wanted. This is why it's better than Fire and Ice.
See, here's the thing about Fire and Ice. This didn't have badass music until the last bit of the movie. Then you get the badass music. Then you get that,
I guess,
that flying scene. That was actually pretty good. But otherwise, this was kind of eh.
Yeah.
And like I said, how do you boys want to rate this? And then we'll get the theories.
All right, Dark, you go first.
I'm giving this movie... Oof, it's a tough one. I'm in that moment where if I give it a 7, maybe that's too low. But if I give it an 8, it's too high. And 7.5 is like... I'm torn between that.
Maybe like a 7.25?
I'll go with that. It's unorthodox, but I'll go with that. No, it has great qualities, and it's an enjoyable movie. It's lacking in story and characterization, but...
like substance.
Yeah, substance, but you're not watching this movie for substance. You're watching it for the adventure and the fights and the animation. It's a visual marvel, basically.
Yeah, you're next, Schizo Erwin. I'll go last.
Schizo Erwin? Okay. That's a good name for me. Because for me, I would give it lower than a 7. The way that I look at it, it is art. Like, the art's wonderful, flawless. To me, it's flawless. The music is not there. The story is not there. The themes are a mess. It's not really appealing to, like, a big audience. It's appealing to, like, a very niche audience of people who like this, like, art. They're like, I like these album covers from like heavy metal music like Iron Maiden or whatever. I wish they made a movie about that. It's like, that's a very small group.
Iron Maiden.
You know? So
No. It's just as you said Iron Maiden. I'm like, oh, what? No, maybe Rainbow Dio or maybe Black Sabbath, but not Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden always had Evil Eddie. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, well, yeah. I'm just going by bands I know of, and I'm not really much of like an 80s metal guy. So when you have visuals like this, and then you like a story, and then you also like it that can appeal to like a bigger audience, it's no surprise why it didn't do well in the theaters. And it's no surprise why there wasn't really a sequel, because it didn't do well in theaters. It cost too much. So I would say this movie is more like a 6 or probably even a 5, just because it lacks the substance that's kind of required for people to enjoy it and sit through it more than once. Would that make sense?
I'm a 6.5. Like I said, I like it for what it is. I know I feel it for what it is. And again, I'm a fan of his work. Like I admit I'm not a fan of Lord of the like. I actually the movie everyone likes is the movie I don't like, and that's Lord of the Rings. I like, even though some of the acting's in that, it's Fire and Ice and Wizard were my 2 favorite from his collection. And I like the story and I like the ideas. So it's 6.5 for me. Good movie. I would watch it again.
I would too. But now there's the ultimate rating, the boob meter. I give it an 8 boobs.
A 10.
No, I give it an 8. Actually, 6.
I give that one a 6 too. I was actually disappointed on how the lacking of nudity. I thought it was gonna be more hardcore.
Oh.
All right. So we got our theories now. Okay, my big theory for this is our dark warrior, I think, is actually the spirit of vengeance, because it's like how he's almost ethereal in the way, because he's never, go boy, I got your back, and he goes in and he fights off 50 freaking guys by himself, and just the way he defeats everything.
Yeah, unscathed, by the way. He never gets hit once.
Yeah, and he never gets hit through the entire movie. So I've been mulling over that for a long time, and I've kind of think that he is vengeance as a whole. He's this essence that's like all the pain and suffering. And there's a scene at the end where Necron's about to get fucking his just desserts at long last, and it aims down, and there's all these dead bodies underneath Necron, like bunch of, like, there's a whole shitload of corpses, and they're all reaching towards Necron. I didn't notice that. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't look normal." And then I looked again. I went, like when I've watched this a couple times, and I think that's what the real he was vengeance, and the spirits wanted their revenge, because I think his power was the power to absorb the dead. I think the whole reason he was doing what he was doing was just to have more power. He didn't care about, like, when his mother said, "Hey, maybe you should keep this princess as a mate," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care." And that's his thought process. Like, he don't care.
So for when it comes to themes about Necron, I think that's on point. I think that there could be something a little bit more to it, because how I see it is that the fire is like the life. The ice is the death, because Ice Age caused death back in the prehistoric days. And when we look at the fire people, they had to basically survive this like incoming Ice Age from the Lord of Death, Necron. And he's also like a controller of death. He can kind of control life, but only to bring you death.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
and I think as he grew, I think the more power he took from the dead. Like, there's that little opening scene they do where they kind of go off on like a little bit on who Necron is, and I think that's what the whole shit and shebang is. He's just he's the aspect of, like, Necron's the aspect of death, and our hero, which I don't even think he has a name. I think it's just Black Mask or something like that. Like, I think it's just like something. It's something simple, because you never hear his name, I don't think, through the entire thing. He might have a name, and I didn't catch it, but I think he's just this essence of.
I guess they just named him Dark Wolf, but I didn't hear the name in the story either.
Yeah, and I think he's just that essence. The essence of pain, the essence of all this anguish, all this hatred that's been bottling up for centuries, and it wants out. And it was going to get out because, Necron pushed too far.
Yep, he tried to push his Empire of Death too far.
Yeah, and when his Empire of Death went too far, it resurrected this warrior. And Dark Wolf was awesome. Dark Wolf was a badass through the entire freaking movie, and that's kind of my thought process on it. I don't know if you boys agree.
I am not well versed in fantasy, barbarian, and things of this nature to have a theory or strong opinions on.
Like mythological symbolism?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we're not going to get too deep into it. Like I said, our rule is, if you really want us to break these fucking movies down, leave a comment and we'll actually do another video on this. But unless then, we're not going to do it. Like, it's just not worth putting too much effort into it. And that's kind of where I come from it. And I guess that's, Erwin's kind of got his thought on the matter. And
yeah, and my main thought that I want to continue with this real quick is that the idea of Dark Wolf existing and like the whole theme and stuff, it still doesn't really save the movie just because of how vague it is. If they kind of refined it a bit more and made it a bit more like understandable to the audience, maybe then it could be higher than a 6 for me.
I honestly think that's the best way to do it. Sometimes it's good not to give the people the information. Sometimes it's good just to.
They don't have to give that much information. They just have to like make the whole story kind of fit through with the theme instead of making the theme a mess. It's like a big scatter shot of different themes combined into like a mess of a story.
Sometimes less is more.
I don't think it's less though. It's a lot of different things being combined into like a shotgun blast of stuff that flies at you.
Yeah, but I don't want to know. I don't want to know if Dark Wolf actually is a spirit. I prefer.
You don't need to know clearly what he is. I'm just saying that this is a bit too postmodernist for its own good in some regards.
In some regards, yeah, and that's I agree with you there. But I don't see. To me, I'd rather have it's an interpretation.
Yeah, and
I like the interpretation of this aspect. That this is an anger. This is a hatred. This is a That's what this is, and I prefer to leave it that way because it's so like maybe if there's any other books or information on this that I actually could find out more, I really don't want to know because my final thought on it's very simple. The Force does not need midichlorians, and that's what I feel about this movie.
Yeah,
doesn't.
And I think
it doesn't. It doesn't need Rey Skywalker either.
No, Rey Palpatine.
Rey Palpatine.
Yeah. I wouldn't have it any other way. This movie, for all its negatives and all its loss, it's still a decent movie and it's worth a watch. And on that note, thank you everybody. as Erwin puts up the critic score for Rings of Power, we're doing 2 more fucking movies if that's how they want to go with it. Fuck you, boys.
This means war.
This means war. We're going into a couple more. Unless someone wants to see us do other stuff, we are doing 2 more movies, maybe even 3. We might make it a fantasy twofer because this bullshit, that's bullshit.
Why not make a fantasy year for next year, 2023? Get ready, boys. We're going to be doing fantasy all year, every year.
No, god damn it, no.
Or that's a little too far.
That's a little too far. No. You see, I do want to get back to the hardcore action, blood, guts, and gore, and some of the cooler stuff. You know, I was gonna do Schwarzenegger month next month, but you know what? Fuck that shit. We're doing one more. Going past September because we refuse to let them win. Thank you, everybody. Like, subscribe, and you all have yourselves a very good day.
Later.